Little old Margot and Steven.
Yep.
So it's gonna be streamlined.
Little old.
Wow.
You give me the pitch, and I whack it out of the park.
Okay.
Touchdown.
Thank you.
Welcome to another episode of MQOA Sunday with Margot and Steven. This one is a mini with just Margot and Steve. Today we'll be discussing Mark chapter 10, verses 46 to 52. Take a seat at our kitchen table and join the conversation.
Oh, I love that.
Thanks.
Okay, so because it's a mini, as always, we're using the beta lesson, which is our small group process here at Mary Queen of the Apostles, Salem, Massachusetts. You too can join us by downloading the lesson plan or just reading along on our website. It's readable from wherever you are.
Yeah.
You can check it out.
Mobile, desktop, printer.
Print.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, get there, join us, or just listen along. I'm a little rusty. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done this.
We're recording this on Thursdays. Normally we record on Sundays.
Right.
So
it's been like a week and a half. So much has changed.
right. Yeah. Lou was our last guest.
Yeah.
He was great. He
was great. We love Lou.
Yeah.
But today, listener, viewer, you are our guest. And I'm like the Wendy show. You're co-hosting with us today.
Am I Leah Remini now?
I want to be Leah.
Yeah. I saw a clip from that. She's awesome.
She's pretty funny.
Watch out, Wendy Williams.
She's matching
Leah Remini is
energy.
after you, I say.
Mm-hmm. She's coming for you.
She
Okay.
flew JetBlue, by the way.
Was it? I was trying to figure out if it was JetBlue.
Of course, she's
looked
Leah.
Blue, but I couldn't tell really.
She's with Mint.
Okay. We're really focused today. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We always start with an icebreaker. And today there are two. Tell us what you had for breakfast this morning and something you want for Christmas this year.
Steven. And I've been doing these kind breakfast bars. It's all chocolate. And it's the only one that doesn't have nuts in it because I'm allergic to some nuts.
Okay.
So they're really good and they're actually really filling. So that's nice.
Okay.
And something I want for Christmas is I want to go back to having family experiences rather than gifts.
Oh.
So my family a couple years ago switched from gifts to experiences. And then during the last couple of years, we switched to gifts, which I don't appreciate.
You don't appreciate the gifts people give you?
Correct.
Okay.
I just
that tracks.
rather go to like a concert together and eat dinner. It's just nicer to spend more time with my family rather than
that's really
getting
nice.
something that I don't need or want or a trinket. You know how I feel about trinkets. So
I do. I think my version of that would like the best gift, like experience gift someone could give me would be to make plans with me and then cancel them.
Perfect.
That would be
Done.
That would be perfect for me.
I can't wait until that backfires.
So nice. No, I don't know. I don't think it
wait.
can.
What if you like prepare
No, that's even better.
Like you bought things for this event and all that? Really? Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
As for me, I had 2 fried eggs with mozzarella on top, like over medium.
Okay.
3 slices of bacon, and this is not interesting, but we have these low carb wraps that we cut and toast. I know.
You're right.
Thanks.
It was not interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
So did you put them all in a wrap and you eat it as a burrito?
I cut it into 8 pieces and toast them on the stovetop, and then I eat them like bread.
Okay.
With butter. Okay. And for Christmas, we have joked about doing a podcast where we drink wine and talk about a TV show. And clearly we don't need the wine today.
No.
I don't know. Oh, and now you're yawning. This is
that breakfast just bored me. How do you wake up after that?
This is obviously the episode we're submitting for awards.
Yes.
For Christmas, I would like a kitten. I'm just going to throw it out there. Sure, why not?
A kitten for Charlie.
I literally have everything I need. So
that's nice.
More than I need.
1% over here.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a 1%.
No, that's nice because I know you talked about your cat wanting a kitten. Well,
I
you
think my cat needs a kitten,
right?
To play with.
Even though you have another cat,
I have another cat, but she is not interested.
she does not want a kitten.
She does not.
She's the Margot of the pair.
I'm gonna tell her I'm getting a kitten and then not, and she'll be sad.
I think Charlie the cat would enjoy it.
He would love it,
especially if that kitten had a laser on its back.
Oh my gosh, that's a dream come true.
Right.
Okay,
we know too much about each other.
Clearly. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to read the gospel one time through. We're going to take a minute just to kind of soak it in, see what God's trying to say to us through the gospel this week. I swear to you, if you ask, God will point something out to you that is important for you. And maybe you're the only person who will understand how or why you and God are meeting in this word. So today's gospel, as Stephen said, is from the Gospel of Mark. We're in chapter 10, and here we go. They came to Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples and a large crowd were leaving Jericho, Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus, a blind beggar, was sitting by the roadside. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout out and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many sternly ordered him to be quiet, but he cried out even more loudly, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stood still and said, "Call him here." And they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take heart, get up, he is calling you." So throwing off his cloak, he sprang up and came to Jesus. Then Jesus said to him, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man said to him, "My teacher, let me see again." Jesus said to him, "Go, your faith has made you well." Immediately he regained his sight and followed him on the way. Take a minute, just soak that in. If you have it in front of you, maybe read it back again. What stands out? Okay, only other guest. What stands out to you from this?
That we talked about this before, like it's the faith that was the healing part, right? The faith in Christ was that was the thing that made it happen.
Yeah, I
right?
think
The
that's
miracle.
so interesting, right? Because he doesn't even I don't know, he doesn't ask him to do anything.
No.
Right?
He just asks him, "What do you want?"
Right. He doesn't ask him to sin no more.
Right.
He doesn't ask him to even follow him.
Mm-hmm.
He just says, basically, because you were brave enough to ask, because you believed in me enough to ask, you're all set.
I also think that it's the physical he can see now, but also I hope that the community sees it differently too. That you just have to take that step forward to Christ, and he will deliver.
That's beautiful, Stephen.
Thanks.
The expression has been used here before in the Gospel of Mark, way back in chapter 5. He said to someone, "Daughter, your faith has made you well." I know who that is. That's the woman who was hemorrhaging, who touched his garment.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's interesting because throughout the gospel, there's different ways Jesus heals people, right?
Okay.
Do you remember the week that he spat in the mud?
Yes.
Right. And then there's the deaf man who was mute, and he put his fingers in his ears and put spit on his finger and his tongue. Right. Mm-hmm. And here he's like, "You're all set."
Right. Well, he's like, I got bigger things to go do. Yeah.
That's true, because he is Jericho. They mentioned he's in Jericho, which is like the last stop before he gets to Jerusalem.
I see.
So when they say
that's important.
Yeah, when they say he's on his way, that he followed him on his way, I think is the last line of the reading. Mm-hmm. He's on his way, on the way to Jerusalem.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
It's just interesting that the crowd is telling him to stop. So this must be a new crowd, right? Because they've seen him heal.
Right.
And how he deals with people.
Right.
Which makes sense, because if he's moving, there's going to be some people that don't follow him all the way.
Right. Why do you think what would make a person in the crowd say,
Well, I think it's the culture, right? If you're blind or if you're sick, it's because God hates you.
mm-hmm.
So they're like, shush.
Yeah.
Or if he might be talking, he
Yep.
might be preaching.
Yep. Or I'm thinking they could be wanting to be healed. Like they could, why are they following him around? They've heard amazing things about him, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they're
that's true.
they're like, I have athlete's foot. Maybe this will be
Right.
healed from just hanging out with them. But okay, this is my fantasy, right?
Okay.
I'm making this story up. Imagine there's people in the crowd who want healing but don't ask for it
Mm-hmm.
because they don't believe it's possible, right?
Yeah. Or they expect it just to be done without any movement.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But do you know that person who asks for what they want and you're like, I want that.
Yeah.
I just am imagining that maybe that's why the people in the crowd are like,
Right.
we've been following him for 30 yards. You've been sitting by
Listen,
the side of the road.
son of Timaeus, whatever the name is.
Timaeus. Yeah.
Timaeus.
Bar Timaeus. That's Hebrew. Bar means son of.
Oh.
How about that?
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I've never thought of that other people
I know.
want healing.
It
is annoying when
it
people
may not
ask
be
what
true.
they want.
That's so true. I agree.
When you're like, damn, I should have been that. I should have done it.
Why didn't I ask for that?
Okay, but why is he calling him son of David? Is that like the lineage?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so this blind man is giving him some props of saying who he really is.
Yeah, good catch.
Okay.
So, son of David, the I believe, and this is not part of my actual research for this week, but I believe it was expected that the Messiah would come from the house of David.
David, right?
Right. So he's acknowledging that he's part of this tribe,
Lineage.
right? But he's also seeing who Jesus is. Okay.
Right.
Which is so
Seeing,
ironic, right?
yeah.
Because one, he's blind.
Yeah.
And B, the people who have been following him around who can see,
Cannot see.
do not see who he is.
Yeah.
His very closest friends
Right.
over and over have not seen who he is.
Right. Well, they do have, I've heard that if you're blind, you have heightened sentences
Yep.
over all the other ones.
I have heard that as well.
Maybe it's spiritual as well.
Maybe.
But that's cool. I think that's.
Isn't that so neat? I love
I wonder when he was like, son of David, everyone was like, oh. Like, and that's when
wonder.
Jesus spoke. He
Right.
stood still. So he was like moving.
Yeah, right?
I just love these little details.
I do too.
Take heart.
I
Give
do
up.
too.
He is calling you.
When I think about why those little details are there, I think whoever wrote this was like vividly remembering it.
Okay.
This may not be true either, but I imagine they're like, and then he stood still.
Right.
Like it was like he stood still and he
stopped.
said,
Yeah.
like to me, the details that the author of the Gospel of Mark includes are the ones that stood out to him in this telling in the story, which I think is such a cool thing.
Yeah, because I think it's probably he stopped. Like he wasn't too busy to be
Right.
like, you're healed and continue walking.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little details of that. That's pretty cool.
I think that's pretty neat. Like, there are lots of details missing, right? They're not talking about what he was wearing or what he was saying as he walked or who was
Right.
next to him or what the weather
Well,
was
if he was like the only one that was healed.
Right. Right.
So-
Oh, that's a good point. It's funny because this is what I love about Beta and about MQOA Sunday. Like I've heard this gospel 47 times ish. I mean,
Yeah,
ish.
with your age divided by, that's nice. 3
Sure.
years. Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah.
makes sense.
Thanks. My age divided by 3 is 47, Stephen.
I said
We're just
ish.
going to keep rolling. I've heard this gospel a lot of times, and it never occurred to me before today to think about the details that were not there,
Right.
right?
Right.
I love that about this conversation we get to have about the gospel, that you can hear it so many times, and every time you do, which is why I said at the beginning, if you ask God to point something out to you, God absolutely will. And it'll be different this time from the next time. And I think there's just value in asking.
Right. Yeah. When we do this for the children's liturgy at our morning masses, the big thing that they said is courage enough to ask what you want for. So I think it's very true. It's very true, because we do get to a point where we can feel that we can't ask for what we really want from God, or we maybe asked him too much, so it becomes like a wish list rather than a conversation.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit in the middle, but he so freely heals.
Yeah.
But that must just throw everyone off.
Right. And still today, right?
Right.
Because still, like this weekend we had a baptism, an adult baptism at our 5:00 mass. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was great.
But before we would baptize her, before the church would baptize her, she had to do some preparation. She had to be able to recite, well, basically to acknowledge and agree to the creed. She needed to be prepared. She needed to show up at a certain time. She needed a sponsor. And I think that's an interesting contrast to how Jesus offers healing and salvation. That last word, on the way, is sort of a double meaning, because it is on the way to Jerusalem, but it's also the name that they kind of called Christianity at first.
Oh, on the way.
So they were followers on the way of Jesus.
That's cool.
Right?
That's very cool.
And he, just let him in.
Yeah.
Basically, without any kind of vetting.
I think like the Son of David is probably enough for him. For Jesus to be like, yep.
Yeah, you're probably
Teacher,
right.
yep.
Finally, someone knows who I am.
Right. It takes a blind man.
Not
to
like
know.
these meatheads that have been following me around every day. Yeah.
On the way. So he could have been there with palms.
He absolutely could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely could have been right there.
And talking about back to Son of David, we have a reading, I think one gospel. I think maybe around Christmas or maybe Easter, where we name everybody.
Oh, sure. Yep. Christmas, we talk about the
lineage, right?
Lineage,
okay.
yeah.
So if you're really interested, come to Christmas.
Do you know, usually I think mostly like we avoid that reading because it is it's hard,
it's a list
and
of
it's
names.
long, and it's not that boring. It's not telling. It doesn't tell anything, obviously.
It proves to a certain group, which I don't think needs proven anymore.
Well, that's a fair point. But I did go to Christmas Mass once where they preached on that reading.
Okay.
And he looked at some of the names in that list and pointed out that so many of them were very unexpected people to bring forth the Messiah.
Oh, all right.
Lots of like boneheads and sinners and not so great people. And women. Yeah. And
That's
it's
cool.
really interesting.
So if they preach on that,
yeah,
there's something to dive into.
There's a lot. It's very cool. Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Let's take a break. Hey there, Margot Warren here, your pastoral associate.
And I'm Stephen Antonio, you're the Director of Family Engagement.
We're here from Mary Queen of the Apostles Parish in Salem, Massachusetts. And one of the things that makes this parish so special is that we really care about healing. We have a team of people always ready to pray for you and your healing. And we have programs and ministries designed to help everyone in search of healing, especially spiritual healing.
And we have a healing prayer every second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. at Immaculate Conception Parish, where you can join and speak to one of our healing team members, and they'll pray over you for whatever spiritual healing or mental healing that you need.
Or if you'd like to make an appointment with our pastor or with someone from our healing team, you can do that too.
Yeah, and all that information and more information can be found on our website, mqoa.org/healing.
And we're back.
We're back.
Welcome back. We have some discussion questions that I really love this week, so I'm gonna put you through them, through the ordeal of asking them. Last week, Jesus asked his disciples, by the way, what do you want me to do for you? They said, do you remember? We want glory.
Right.
This week, he asks the blind man, Bartimaeus, what do you want? He says, I want to see, which, again, big difference
Yin yang,
from the outsider and the insider. See, I said there wasn't much more background to talk about, but one thing I love about the Gospel of Mark is that the wrong people see who Jesus is.
Right.
And the right people miss it.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm really growing into Mark a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you have a sense of if Jesus stumbled in here through the curtains
Yeah.
and asked, "What do you want from me?"
Right.
What
What would
yeah,
be my
do you
answer?
have something?
I mean, I always go to patience,
Mm-hmm.
but I love to know. So just like a little touch of knowledge of just like, I saw the future. Okay, cool.
Oh.
Yeah, thinking like sci-fi, but definitely patience.
Oh gosh, patience is a trick request, I think. Do you remember the movie with Steve Carell and he was like
Bruce Almighty?
Yes.
Okay.
And there was another one like it, right?
Evan Almighty.
Maybe it was one
He's
of those.
Evan, yeah.
Where the wife asks for patience
Mm-hmm.
and someone visits her in a coffee shop and says, "Hey, if you ask God for patience, do you think God is going to give you patience, or is God going to give you opportunities to develop patience?"
Right.
It's asking for trouble, really.
Yeah, and that's how I do think that when we do ask God for things, he doesn't give it to us. He gives us opportunities for us to choose to
Right.
be whatever we're asking for.
He gives us what we need and not necessarily how we want it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's like we ask for courage, he's gonna give you opportunities
like, "Boop."
to be
Yeah.
to be courageous.
Ugh,
Yeah, and then yeah,
dang.
yeah, and so yeah,
Okay, so would you like to change your answer?
no, because I like to see results, and I think God works on a bigger picture than I can. So there's that.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Oh, jeez.
I think you may also then be talking about trust,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool.
Sure.
Careful what you wish for.
Right. What about you?
Oh,
Is it the heart?
poor God. I'm always pestering God for knowledge. I want to know.
Oh, right.
I want to know how the story ends. Because,
Yeah.
and then this is my bargain with God. I go,
Mhm.
just tell me how it ends.
Yeah.
I will do whatever horrible crap happens before that, as
Yeah.
long as I can just know how it ends.
Right.
And God says, yeah, well, that's not how this works.
So do you like Wikipedia movies
Yes.
before? Oh, okay.
Yes,
You're
I
one of
do.
those.
I do. I am. I IMDb
Okay. Right.
everything I watch just
Interesting.
about and read the comments and the goofs and all that. Trivia.
Before you even dive in.
During.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I do that with scary movies
Oh, that's smart.
to help me
Yeah.
with that.
So yeah, that's but I realized a few years ago, I'm working on this because I think this is like my biggest sort of sin against God, right? Because if I'm asking for the knowledge, gosh, like, do I not trust that God's going to see me through every situation? Like, can't I just
Right. Yeah.
be obedient or be surrendered?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And the answer is no, I cannot.
Right.
But I'm working on it. Tell me this. I think you'll like this question.
Okay.
What is to be learned from this story by the church, especially like our...
Okay. So here we go.
Okay.
Take down.
Do you want to take a minute?
No,
Okay.
take down the barriers.
Yeah.
I think the church needs to break down the barriers. I think we need to trust in the Holy Spirit more when it comes to individual people. I think that if someone's coming through the last 20 years, if anyone's coming to get married, baptized, if they're just coming,
Yeah.
you should be so grateful because there's just so much in the world that's telling you no.
Yeah.
So I think that it needs just to be more welcoming and be like Jesus in this point where like they're coming, they're fighting through the crowd, which is the culture, and they're saying, Jesus, you're my teacher. I just need to see. And he's like, okay, your faith alone
Yeah.
does that. So I think there's man, and I include myself in this, man loves structure and loves like to-do lists and
Yeah.
one leads to another. And so I get that when it comes to prepping and preparing.
We like a plan.
We like a plan, but I think the Spirit doesn't work that way. And I think we need to we need to see the Spirit more in people, individuals.
Okay, I like that. I think that tirade ended in a bit more positive direction.
Yeah, of course.
than it started,
Yeah.
which is classic, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is there stuff our parish has to learn from this reading?
Yeah, I think so. I think we need to listen to those who are calling out, who might be a little bit quieter, who are not loud enough for the crowd they're too loud, they're too soft for the crowd to whatever. Yeah, we need to listen to the little voices, and we need to again trust in the Spirit that there's something happening in people that we can't see or maybe not determine, but and continuing. I mean, we are a very forward-thinking parish. I'll hear it all the time, which is so nice, is that we're welcoming, and I think that's a huge leap forward.
Yeah.
But to just continuous.
Yeah.
To stay on that path.
The guy who started Young Life, which is this non-denominational youth ministry program organization, he was famous for saying it's a sin to bore a teenager with the gospel. And and I think it's true that in some places, at its worst, at our worst, the church can put up barriers, unnecessary barriers, that keep people away from Jesus. The church can see itself as a bouncer, instead of a welcomer. Deciding who's worthy enough, or who's prepared enough, or who's ready enough, right? But almost as bad is boring people, right?
Yeah.
My husband is a youth minister, as you know, and he said he came home from work on Sunday, and he said a teenager said to him, I've been coming to this church for 9 years, and it's never challenged me.
I've
never been challenged or asked anything. She's like, and she wasn't saying it critically. She was just coming to this revelation, well, this has been almost a complete waste of my time.
Right. Yeah.
And my husband then went back to his team and was like, okay, we need to, this is this is not good.
No.
We want to be challenging because the gospel is challenging. It's challenging to love, but we can lose people, and we can put a barrier between that love, that healing, and others, even just if we don't do it so it's not boring. Right.
And the gospels are as relevant as they ever were.
Absolutely.
But we need to do some reconnecting ourselves as well.
Right.
And I hope that people find it welcoming and real here. Yeah. And not just a bunch of a maze, like a corn maze.
It's kind of what's funny, I think, is that we're a small parish. And that goes against people's instincts about what a good parish should be. If it's good, it should be big, right?
Right.
But what I love about being a small parish is that we can do things personally. I was at Mass on Sunday night, the night of this baptism, which was beautiful in itself, but made more beautiful because I know her story personally. But even I was so choked up during the communion song, which was Here I Am, Lord, which is a song that means something to me. But also coming up that center aisle and looking around and knowing every person there and knowing a piece of their stories, and the intersection of this one's physical pain and this one's grief and this one's burnout and this one's, desire to be loved. Yeah. And this one's joy. It just about knocked me out. Yeah. To be standing at the center of that many stories. Whew.
That's a great case for programs or things that we do that is focused on community and personalized too. I mean, I don't think you can do that in a classroom setting. You have to do something like that comes through Alpha. I mean, most of the people that come to our 5 o'clock Mass have gone through Alpha, so you have personally see them through
Right.
as that MC. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice to know that.
I want to read you one of the quotes from the beta this week.
Okay.
This is from a priest's blog somewhere. He says, sorry about that. He says, faith starts with the humility of recognizing ourselves as needy of salvation. It entails interior and exterior struggle, and it culminates in an intimate encounter with Jesus. There is no intimacy without vulnerability. Intimacy is what God seeks, and our vulnerability is its catalyst.
Yep.
I think this vulnerability, right, is one way that churches can stumble because they don't want to feel vulnerable with the people who approach them, right? Mm-hmm. So don't come in here and try to get married without having some sort of a connection to this parish,
Right.
because that makes us look vulnerable. That makes us look like we're just giving it away. Right.
But look at the story of the gospel when it comes to after Jesus died, and the disciples were very vulnerable, hiding, scared, and that's when the Holy Spirit came.
Right.
So it's right there.
Right.
It's when we do have to ourselves. We have to knock down that guard for God to be able to. For us to accept what God has given. Yeah. So it does make sense, but it also does make sense to the church. Yeah. Yeah, like we're the best. And so, yeah. Humble. We need to be more humble.
More humble.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to invite people to check out our church.
Yeah.
Which we are obviously proud of because it is small. It's personal. We believe in the power of Christ to heal.
Yeah.
And we believe in the power of community to heal too, through just being able to be vulnerable with each other, have relationships that support each other. And you can dive in wherever you're at in your faith journey, whether you're brand new to the idea of Christianity or you're a lifelong Catholic who has forgotten everything they learned in CCD. Yeah. Come and jump in because that's what we're here for, and we're happy to have you. Should we take one more break?
Yeah, let's see what our pastor thinks of this gospel.
Let's do it.
Being blind is one of the afflictions in the Gospels that Jesus treats rather radically and extraordinarily with his great miracles. And today in the Gospels, that's what we're witnessing, the cure of Bartimaeus. But there's other blindness in the Gospel today. There's the blindness of people who only want Jesus to walk by blind Bartimaeus. They want him to ignore him, to not see him, and as importantly, not hear him. But luckily, that's not the way that God treats us. God hears us calling out. God hears us calling out for vision of him, to be able to see him more clearly. And so this day we see this extraordinary miracle of healing for Bartimaeus. And what's really wonderful about this little vignette is that after Jesus heals Bartimaeus, he gives him a choice. He says, you're free to go. Your faith healed you, so you have no responsibility to me now. I didn't give this to you because I was expecting something from you. You're free to go on your way. And I'm sure there were thousands of things that Bartimaeus wanted to see, perhaps his family, depending on his age, perhaps his children, or all the other different things that Bartimaeus might have been missing with his blindness. But he chose instead to follow Jesus on the way to Jerusalem. That's where Jesus was heading as he met Bartimaeus. He's now, in this part of the gospel, is journeying towards Jerusalem for the ultimate service to all of us in giving by his death and resurrection. But along the way, Jesus again invites everyone at whatever moment to come and join him and to follow him as one of his disciples. And that's the message for all of us too, that we are called to be people who having seen Jesus, having been healed by Jesus, if not our blindness, then some other, the doubt of our faith, our inability to see God in our lives, or the doubt that we have that causes us to say God doesn't exist, or God doesn't know me, or doesn't help me. That blindness that we have, our spiritual blindness, can be cured and healed. And then once it's cured and healed, we have the same response as Bartimaeus. We're free to go our own way, or we're free to follow Jesus Christ as his disciples. And so as we gather this weekend, that's the challenge for all of us, to cry out to the Lord for healing and receive the healing, and then decide ourselves that we want to continue to follow Jesus on our way. And may God bless you in this week.
And we're back.
Back.
Welcome back. Thanks, Father Murray. That was amazing. We love our pastor, and we think you will too.
Great. He, by accidentally, FaceTime with us today. It was really nice.
He did.
Yeah.
Okay, so final takeaways. If you were preaching on this weekend in a Catholic parish, what would you focus on?
Two things.
Okay.
Who in the community, who in your household, who do you know that's calling out for Jesus and can't be heard?
Ah, Stephen, that's beautiful.
And then how can you be unblind? What areas do you need to see?
But if it were me, I would be preaching a lot during the Gospel of Mark about the wrong people and the right people.
Yeah.
And how sometimes it's the church that judges whether people are wrong or right enough.
Right.
But sometimes it's the people sitting in our pews who are not inviting other people in, or who are not welcoming strangers, or who are looking at people with judgment.
Right.
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 And we have to be careful not to be part of that crowd that's like, step away, wrong person.
Right.
I think that's what I would say.
I like that. Because there's more people that should be in church than who shouldn't be in church.
Yeah.
Like, by a long shot.
Right. Right. That's the Pope Francis says it's a hospital for sinners, not a prize for saints.
Right.
Communion, Eucharist. We believe that here at MQOA.
We really do.
If you are loving being part of this conversation, like we said, the beta group lesson is available every week on our website. And you can grab a friend of yours or someone else's, I guess, and just start meeting and talking through this lesson plan together. As you can see, you don't have to be any kind of biblical scholar to make this work. You can just have your own kitchen table conversation. Or if you'd like to just jump in and jump into a group that's already going, we have one that's open on Monday mornings, and they are always open to new people. So you can get in touch with us, and we will connect you with them to get you started with a beta group.
Yeah, and if you are seeking any type of healing, either physical or spiritual, we have a monthly healing prayer with our healing team on the second Tuesday of the month. And if you're in Salem for the month of October, we also have that opportunity on Saturdays, I believe, starting at 3 to about 5. There's some adoration and some prayer, and there's all Catholicness, but there's also an opportunity for you to just be in a prayerful state between some haunted houses or some great restaurants if you're visiting Salem on Saturdays.
Salem is crazy this month. And you know what? We're always here for you, to pray for you, pray for your healing. If you need us, reach out. That's what we get paid the big bucks for.
Yeah, it's true.
And so we thank you for joining us this week for a mini-ish.
Yeah.
We got sort of off on a rant, didn't we? But hey, that's the power of the gospel. That's the power of kitchen table conversations. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful week.
MQA Sunday is brought to you by Mary Queen of the Apostles Parish, located in the historic city of Salem, Massachusetts. Your hosts are Margot Morin, Pastor Associate, and Stephen Antonio, the Director of Family Engagement. The show is recorded in Salem, Massachusetts, and edited by the staff of MQOA. The beta lesson is written by Margot Morin. Find out more about Mary Queen of the Apostles Parish on our website, mqoa.org.